He had the affair, so why am I the one managing the repair process? Every time he arrives unprepared, I either shut down or get so angry, we end up fighting.
This is a fictional scenario using an actual RenuuAI session.
Hi, I'm glad you're here. This session is about protecting your voice when trust conversations become tense, guilt-inducing, or shut down, so you can stay connected to what you know and need without over-explaining. When you hear something like, "I thought we were past this," what happens inside you, and how do you usually respond?
Oh, I feel anger, disappointment, really utmost frustration. My stomach turns into a knot, and I feel disgusted and rushed to be okay when I'm actually not okay.
That knot, disgust, anger, and frustration make sense. You're being pressured to appear healed when repair still feels incomplete. "I thought we were past this" can shift attention away from your legitimate need for truth and safety and onto ending their discomfort. You do not have to abandon your reality just because the conversation is uncomfortable. When that pressure happens, what do you usually do next? Go quiet, apologize, over-explain, or keep pushing to be heard?
I tend to go one of two extremes, actually. Either shut down and get quiet because I feel exhausted and hopeless, or I just get so angry, I start yelling, and then we have a fight.
Thank you for staying with it. The swing between shutting down and yelling is really understandable when you feel rushed, unheard, and emotionally cornered. It doesn't mean your need is wrong. It means the conversation is moving outside your window of steadiness and your body is trying to protect you. A helpful middle ground is preparing one short sentence before the conversation. For example, "I'm not bringing this up to punish you. I'm bringing it up because trust still needs repair, and I need this conversation to stay safe." Which feels harder for you in the moment, staying calm enough to speak or believing you're allowed to bring it up at all?
If I get angry and triggered, it would really be hard to stay calm. On the other hand, when I shut down, it's not really because I don't believe I am allowed to bring it up. It's because I feel hopeless and don't believe things will actually change. So I lose hope and end up shutting down.
That distinction is important. You're not shutting down because your need feels illegitimate. You're shutting down because the pattern has taught you, "This probably won't go anywhere." That kind of hopelessness can make silence feel like the only way to preserve energy. A firm middle ground phrase can help you protect your voice without having to carry the whole conversation. For example, "I'm getting overwhelmed, but I don't want to disappear. I need us to pause and come back to this when we can both stay engaged." When you imagine saying something like that, what part feels most doable or most unrealistic?
It does feel doable, but what good will it do if my spouse is not showing change anyway?
That's a very real question. A phrase like that won't make your partner change, and it would be unfair for all the repair to depend on you saying things perfectly. Their responsibility is to respond with consistency, honesty, patience, and initiative. The good it can do is protect you. It keeps you from collapsing into silence or escalating into a fight, and it gives you clearer information. If you say, "I need us to pause and come back to this," and they still dismiss, avoid, or never return to it, that becomes evidence about whether repair is actually happening, not a failure on your part. What would you need to see from them after a pause for it to feel like a real effort rather than just another shutdown?
Well, I don't want him to expect that I should be over it by now. I can't just forget this, and the pain is still very raw. I need him to demonstrate understanding and commitment for as long as it takes. Otherwise, it feels like we're dismissing the huge damage this has done to me. I can't just brush it off, you know?
Yes, I do know what you mean. You're not asking to live in the past. You're asking for the damage to be treated as real, and for repair to last longer than his discomfort. Trust doesn't rebuild because time passed. It rebuilds because the person who broke it keeps showing understanding, consistency, and commitment over time. You might say it this way: I'm not choosing to stay hurt. I'm still hurt because the damage was significant, and I need you to stop treating my pain like it has an expiration date. If we're repairing this, I need understanding and commitment for as long as healing takes. When you imagine saying that, what response from him would help you feel even slightly safer?
I need him to wake up and pull his head out of his rear to see the reality of the destruction he has caused. I need him to be remorseful and patient and to at least try to understand my pain and the level of damage caused to me. I want him to understand what this affair has robbed me of and how it has turned my world upside down.
That anger makes sense. You're describing a need for real remorse, not just "I'm sorry," but the kind of accountability where he stops defending himself long enough to face the impact. Being betrayed can take away safety, confidence, ease, and the simple ability to trust your own life. Wanting that recognized is not excessive. A grounded version of what you're saying could be: I need you to understand that this didn't just hurt my feelings, it changed my sense of safety, trust, and reality. When you rush me to be over it, it makes the damage feel dismissed. I need patience, remorse, and active effort from you if repair is going to be real. What is one specific action, not just words, that would show you he's truly trying to understand the damage?
I really don't know. I guess it's one of those things that I'll know it when I see it.
That makes sense. Sometimes after betrayal, your body recognizes sincerity before your mind can define it neatly. And still having a few markers can protect you from being stuck waiting for a vague "maybe someday." Some examples might be: he brings up repair without you prompting. He asks what triggers have been hard lately. He responds without defensiveness. He follows through on transparency. He checks in after tense conversations or says, "I know this is still painful and I'm here." The key is not one grand gesture. It's repeated behavior that shows he understands the impact and doesn't resent the work. Of those examples, which one would matter most to you if you saw it consistently?
I actually really like all of these examples. I couldn't think of them myself, but now that you laid them out, they all make sense to me.
I'm really glad they fit. When you're carrying the pain and the emotional labor, it can be hard to name what repair should look like, especially when the conversation keeps turning into, "Why aren't you over it?" But these examples are very reasonable markers of earned trust, not demands for perfection. You could keep them as a simple repair evidence list. Initiating check-ins, staying non-defensive, following through on transparency, asking about triggers, returning after pauses, and naming the damage without rushing you. If you were to share this list with him, would it feel safer to present it as, "These are the behaviors I need to rebuild trust," or keep it private for now as your own way to assess progress?
I don't know really. On one hand, I want to show him the list because he may not know. On the other, I don't want to own our recovery. I want him to take initiative. I want him to be doing research and asking, what can I do to help my wife? What should I do?
That pull makes complete sense. You want to give him a fair chance to understand what helps, but you don't want to become the manager of the repair he should be actively caring to. A good middle path could be: share the list once as a starting point, but make it clear that you're not taking ownership of the whole recovery. For example, "I can share some examples of what helps me feel safer, but I need you to take initiative too. I don't want to be the only one researching, bringing up repair, or telling you what to do. I need you to come to me with your own effort and ask how to support me." That way, you're not hiding the target, but you're also not accepting the role of project manager. Would it feel more empowering to share the list with that boundary attached? Or to first ask him to bring his own repair ideas to the conversation?
I really don't know. I want to do whatever will help most in getting him to do the right things.
I hear that. And the painful truth is, there is not a perfect strategy that can make him do the right things if he isn't willing to take responsibility. You can create clarity, make your needs visible, and set boundaries, but his initiative has to come from him. If your goal is to see whether he can take ownership, I'd suggest asking him first. For example, you could say, "What have you learned about your recovery? And what specific things are you willing to do to help me heal?" Then after he answers, you can share your list as clarification, not as the whole assignment. That gives you useful information. Does he come prepared, curious, and accountable, or does he wait for you to carry it again? Would you like help turning that into a short script you could actually say?
She mostly comes unprepared, and it feels like I am carrying it.
That is exhausting, and it also gives you important information. If he comes unprepared while you're still raw and trying to rebuild safety, it can feel like the betrayal happened and the repair got handed to you. That is not a balanced recovery dynamic. You might say, "I need you to stop showing up unprepared for conversations about the damage. I can share what helps me, but I need you to take responsibility for learning, initiating, and following through. If I'm the only one carrying repair, I can't feel safe rebuilding trust." But then watch what happens after that. Not just whether he agrees, but whether he takes visible action. What is one small clear action you want him to take before the next repair conversation?
It would be great if he does some research to learn how to support me. I mean, I know this is difficult for him too, but after all, the affair was his decision, and if we will move forward, I need to see initiative from him.
Initiative matters because it shows he's not just waiting for your pain to quiet down. A clear request could be, "Before our next conversation, I need you to spend time learning about how to support a betrayed partner after infidelity. And come with 3 specific things you're willing to do consistently, not just once. I need to see initiative from you, not only responses when I push." This also protects your voice because it gives the conversation a structure instead of putting you in a role of explaining everything from scratch. Would you want to set a specific time to revisit it, or leave it open and see whether he follows through on his own?
I would leave it open for now and see how it goes.
That makes sense. Leaving it open can give you a clear read on whether he takes initiative without managing every step. The key is to watch behavior, not just hope. Does he research, bring something back, ask thoughtful questions, or follow through without being reminded? Just be gentle with yourself if leaving it open means starts turning into waiting in pain. You can always decide later, as you leave it open, what will you look for as the first sign that he's taking real initiative?
I don't really want to police that. When he's done and shows up, I want him to tell me what he learned.
That's a really understandable boundary. You don't want to supervise his learning, you want him to own it, and then show you what ownership looks like. That protects you from becoming the monitor, teacher, and motivator all at once. You could keep it simple. For example, you could say, "I'm not going to police your process, but if you want to repair this, I need you to take initiative, learn, and come to me with what you're understanding and what you're willing to do differently." Then the measure becomes whether he shows up on his own, not whether you successfully remind him. What would help you stay grounded while you wait to see whether he takes that initiative?
Not sure. I have not done this approach before.
That makes sense. This is new, and not managing his effort may feel uncomfortable at first because you've been carrying so much of the repair work. While you wait, the goal is not to sit in anxiety and scan for signs. It's to protect your own steadiness. Use your calm plan when you feel flooded. Write down what you need to see and remind yourself, his initiative is his responsibility. My job is to notice reality clearly. A small anchor could be, I'm giving space for him to show ownership, but I'm not abandoning myself while I wait. What is one thing you can do for yourself when the urge to prompt, remind, or check on his progress comes up?
What would you suggest?
I'd suggest a simple, don't chase, do ground plan. When the urge comes up to prompt him, try this first. Pause for 20 minutes, take a silent walk or shower, and write one line. I want to remind him because I'm afraid he won't take initiative. Then add, if he takes ownership, I won't have to manage it. This helps you stay connected to your reality without turning yourself into the repair manager. You can also keep a private, repair evidence note, not to police him, but to protect yourself from confusion. Write down what he initiates, what he follows through on, and whether he returns to hard conversations without being pushed. Which of those feels most realistic for you? The 20-minute pause, the one-line journal check, or the private repair evidence note?
Probably the 20-minute walk, although the others don't sound bad either.
That sounds like a strong choice. The 20-minute walk gives your body somewhere to put the urgency, and it creates a little space between I am scared he won't do it and I need to remind him right now. The other tools can stay optional, not another burden. You might pair the walk with one quiet phrase, for example, I'm not responsible for proving to him that repair matters. That keeps your voice protected without escalating or disappearing. When you come back from the walk, what would help you decide whether to stay quiet and observe or speak one clear boundary?
Again, I need your help here.
Yes. After the 20-minute walk, use a simple 3-part check. 1. Am I calm enough to speak without yelling or collapsing? If no, stay quiet for now and keep grounding. Number 2. Is there something specific I need to say, or am I trying to rescue the repair again? If it's rescuing, reminding, coaching, pushing, observe instead. Number 3. Has something happened that crosses a boundary or repeats the same dismissal? If yes, speak one clear sentence. For example, I'm not going to manage your repair work, but I need you to understand that waiting for me to move on is not repair. I need initiative from you. So the rule could be, observe when you're tempted to manage. Speak when your boundary or reality is being dismissed. What sentence would feel most natural for you to use if you do need to speak?
Probably number 2.
That makes sense. Number 2 is the heart of this. Am I speaking because I need to protect my reality or because I'm trying to get him to finally take ownership? If it's the second one, silence can actually be a boundary, not shut down, but refusing to carry what belongs to him. You might tell yourself, I can name my need once. I do not have to keep convincing him that repair matters. That helps you stay out of the exhausting role of chasing, proving, or managing. When you notice you're about to rescue the repair, what is the shortest phrase you could say to yourself to step back?
How about, he must own his part of the repair?
Yes, that's a strong phrase. He must own his part of the repair is clear, fair, and grounded in accountability. You're not saying he has to do it perfectly. You're saying you cannot do this part for him. You could even shorten it in the moment too. His part is his to own. That might be easier to remember when you're triggered or tempted to overfunction. As we bring this together, your plan is, take the 20-minute walk, remind yourself, his part is his to own, and then speak only if your boundary or reality is being dismissed. What do you want to remember most from this conversation when things get tense?
Well, we covered several things. It will be helpful if she can list all the takeaways for me in a way that I can glance at them and quickly find and remember what I need to do in a particular situation.
Absolutely. Here's a quick glance takeaway list you can return to when things get tense. You've covered the core points for this session. Protecting your voice, resisting guilt, normalizing your need to revisit the betrayal, and repairing short, firm language. Is there anything you want to adjust in this list so it sounds more like you?
No, I think this is actually good.
I am glad it feels useful. You did really important work here. You named the pressure, separated your valid pain from his discomfort, and built language that protects you without making you responsible for his repair. The biggest takeaway is, you can stay grounded in your reality without chasing, yelling, or disappearing. His initiative is his responsibility. Your job is to notice clearly, protect your voice, and not abandon yourself. Thank you for being so open in this session. You can now click the finish button at the bottom.
Whether you're betrayed or unfaithful, you don't have to go through this alone. Go to RenuuAI.com and download the app today. Start your private recovery journey from infidelity.